I bought the best accessories for the cheapest version of the brand new Mac Studio, which is good because this magic box doesn't exactly do a whole bunch by itself. And really quickly, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Squarespace. Have you ever thought to yourself, wow, I just bought the brand new Mac Studio, but it doesn't really do anything by itself without plugging in a whole bunch of stuff? Well, good news, because I've got a whole bunch of stuff here that I personally use. First off, how I like running these videos is we're gonna start from the ground and work our way up. So the very first accessory I have, I couldn't bring here to show to you because it's this right here. It's the desk. You cannot have a home office or a school office or anything like that without a desk to build upon. And I use a desk from a company called Very. Now, something I want to make clear really quickly as we're starting this video, none of this stuff has been sponsored. Nobody is paying me to make this video. Well, Squarespace is paying me to make this video, but everything else is stuff that I have personally purchased. So the topper, as you can see it right here, is called Reclaimed Wood. Again, I like the desks from Very. I've got this one and then my main desk. Great desks. I've been using them for over a year now. Super comfortable, super sturdy. This is the best base I could find to build your overall accessory kit. The next thing I'm gonna recommend is some kind of a desk mat. Now, I personally use this one. You have seen this before. If you have seen my desk accessory videos, this is my personal, it's all worn in and well used because I use this a ton. This is a leather mat from a company called Galloway Leather. Now, sometimes these are in stock on Amazon and sometimes they're not. Very high quality. It's very soft, supple. It's very comfortable to use because I hate using a mouse or a keyboard where it's just against the desk itself. I mean, I assume a lot of you all hate that too because these things sell a ton. So I would recommend a mat. You could get a neoprene version, something like what my wife uses, but I would say get a mat. This one is the one that I would use and the one that I would recommend. On top of this, we got to put some things. So let's start off with a keyboard because you're going to need a keyboard. This chonker, listen to this. Did you hear that? This is a heavy keyboard. This is called the Pro from GMMK. This is a keyboard that you build yourself, but it's not that bad. I know people see you building your own keyboard. You get nervous about making a mechanical keyboard, but it's very, very easy to do. This has what's called hot swappable switches. So there's no soldering. All you do is you go on the GMMK website, you build it out exactly how you want, and you pick out your keycaps and everything, and then it's like Legos. You just pop it all together. It worked really well. It is expensive. It's not the cheapest keyboard I've ever used, but I love using this. One, look how cool this thing looks. Can you see that? This thing looks amazing. And then two, listen to how it sounds. I love this keyboard. I have linear switches inside of here. It's the most comfortable typing, and it's the best looking keyboard that I've ever owned. Regardless of the keyboard you get, I'm getting older in life. I like taking care of all of my soft tissue bits. So you also really need to get a wrist rest. I really like having a wrist rest, especially when a keyboard is as tall as this, because if you are a palm rester, some people hover, some people rest. I'm a rester myself. So you got to have this so that you're not putting a lot of strain. You're not giving yourself carpal tunnel. So you just set a wrist rest. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be fancy. You just get it. Even if you have a thinner keyboard, it just puts you in more of an ergonomic position. It just makes everything more comfortable. And I love typing on this keyboard. This too is a 1-2, just like knockout combination. But this is a Logitech wrist rest from a previous keyboard I have used in the past. It doesn't have to be brand accurate. It just has to be something that protects your soft tissue bits. The next thing you're going to need if you have a keyboard and a wrist rest is a mouse. It's so gross. This is my Logitech MX Master 3. This is my favorite mouse literally of all time. I don't know that I will ever use another mouse unless they come out with a better version of this mouse. It's super comfortable. It's infinitely customizable, I guess, as far as mice goes. It has a lateral scroll wheel. It has a vertical scroll wheel. It has customizable buttons. It's Bluetooth or wireless. It's just an incredible mouse. Maybe it's not holding up as well as maybe some other mice because of the material on here. I've been using this for hours a day since I got it, and it does seem to be showing some wear from all of the use I get out of it. But I would highly recommend this. I have not found another mouse that I have liked better than the MX Master 3. Okay, so we've got our desk all pretty much built out. Look, we've got the studio, we've got the keyboard, the mouse, but you're gonna need to be able to see what's going on in here, right? Thanks to today's sponsor, Squarespace, you can create your own very beautiful website. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to build a professional website, online store, or portfolio. It's easy to claim a domain/URL, create a custom site that matches your style, and bring your ideas to life. Head on over to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, head over to squarespace.com/everydaydad to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. But quick question to all of you out there, of all the accessories that we're going to talk about today, what do you think is going to be the most controversial? Obviously, it's going to be the studio display from Apple. This will get its own dedicated video here shortly, but I wanted to talk about it here as an accessory. I really hate and I really like this monitor at the same time. If you're trying to get a monitor that just seamlessly, perfectly works with the Mac Studio, this is it. It works incredibly well. One of the problems that I've had with monitors with the Mac Studio, with everything after macOS Monterey, is sometimes you get delay or lag with the monitor waking up or having issues. This has no issues. This works perfectly well. It plugs in from the Thunderbolt 4 port straight into one of the Thunderbolt 4 ports on the Mac Studio. It's beautiful. It's the most color accurate monitor that I've ever gotten. I always calibrate my monitors with a professional tool. This is the one that was the closest to being dead on right out of the box. You might be like, Gary, did you forget to take the cable off to make it a little bit better for this video? No, viewer, this is semi-permanently attached. I did say I hated it and loved it at the same time. You could get any kind of a monitor, right? You don't have to spend $1,600 on a monitor like this. Just get one that is comfortable for you. I would recommend at least 4K because of the horsepower that this thing has, pushing out to 6K displays. 5K is kind of a niche feature, so just get a comfortable monitor and you'll be great. One of the biggest problems with the Mac Studio, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think the biggest problem with the cheapest version of the Mac Studio is? If you said storage, you would absolutely be right. So here are some ways to fix that. You could get solid state drives. This is an external solid state drive, a T7 drive from Samsung. This is their newest model. It writes very fast. It reads very fast. It will, when you put it through the USB-C or the Thunderbolt ports, it will transfer files so quickly you'd almost think this was an internal drive. However, if you're not working on projects or you're not doing things that you need that kind of a speed, you could just get a regular spinning disk HDD, just a regular hard drive. These are everywhere. This is like what YouTube's favorite drive that you see in literally everybody's video. This is a drive from a company called Lacie. All sorts of people make these, so don't necessarily buy just this specific one, but if you do need external storage, get one with Thunderbolt or USB-C because you get a lot of options in here. Let's break your mind a little bit, viewer. One of the best parts about the Mac Studio is you don't need a lot of stuff that we have talked about in previous accessory videos. I mean, look at all this I/O, USB-A, HDMI, 10 gigabit Ethernet. You get all sorts of Thunderbolt ports. You get ports on the front. You don't really need a lot of extemporaneous stuff to make it work. If you're using this computer like I do for my desk, sometimes you will need a USB-A port on the front. I do kind of wish they had included USB-A ports on the front. I would say you got a couple of options to fix that. One, you could get a dongle. You don't necessarily need a dongle. This is one for an iPad, but it's really here for illustrative purposes where all you have to do is plug this into the front. Now, if you got the M1 Ultra version of this, these will be Thunderbolt ports. I got the Max, the cheapest version, right? So these are USB-C. You can plug this in, you get a whole bunch of additional functionality, but what I'm really looking for is USB-A. Or you could buy a couple of these. These are USB-C to USB-A adapters. These are incredible. I always have these around with me because you never know when you've got to plug in a keyboard from the front. Maybe you're building a server and you've got a flash disk that you need to create. Well, here you go. It's really easy right there. You just plug it in. Now you've got USB-A on the front. I'm telling you, you got to keep these around. If you're using anything that uses USB-C and you might use a keyboard or a wired mouse, you have to have some of these around because they will save you. The next thing I want to talk about is some kind of a headphone. Now, I prefer Airpods Pro. These are my Airpods regular because these are the ones that I had down here. Don't look, they're very, very gross because I've owned these for a lot of years at this point. One of the things that I really like about Apple, especially with their newest software updates, is the seamless transfer between devices. So I like to run a lot. I will have my AirPods Pro in for running. I get back inside. I can keep those in, use them on my phone, my watch, the Mac. So I like having AirPods. I don't really like the AirPods Maxes because they're just too big. They're kind of heavy for me. I prefer the in-ear AirPods because they have fit for me. Some folks are not as fortunate if they don't fit for you. But guess what, viewer? You thought we only had one controversial topic? We're going to have another one because this is the brand new iPad Air 5. And I'm going to say that this is a great addition to the Mac Studio because of the new universal control. Honestly, does it have to be an Air 5? No, it could be an Air 4. It could be an iPad Pro. It could be a mini, any of the new iPads. I like this one because the blue is gorgeous. This is the best looking iPad I've ever owned. But because of the new universal control, you could use this as your monitor instead of buying this. You could have this be almost more portable than a MacBook. It's not more portable than a MacBook, but you could use this as the monitor and you can do all your work from just this setup right here, which I think is pretty neat in the way that the new software works across iPad OS and Mac OS. But it gives you a lot of functionality. I've always been of the opinion that a Mac plus an iPad is a far better combination than a Mac and another Mac, because iPads give you more functionality across the board. Plus, there are just some places where you don't want a MacBook or a Mac. You just want a little bit bigger of a device than your phone. I think the iPad Air 5 really fits into that niche. And I gotta tell you, viewer, of all the things we've talked about today, if I were to give you one that I really recommend, it would be the keyboard. Not because I want you to go buy a GMMK Pro, but because building keyboards is just a ton of fun. It lets you have a personal investment in your own ecosystem, in your own accessories, which I think is awesome. Plus, it gives you another skill. There's all sorts of like hacks and modifications and things that you can do inside of here to make it sound exactly like what you want. The one solid stamp seal of approval that I will give in this video to the GMMK Pro. However, I've got a special secret accessory that I'm going to drop on you right now. We got to move this first though. Oh, it's heavy. It's heavy. You see this? This is the real accessory that solves the Mac Studio's storage problems. If you upgrade the Mac Studio to 8 terabytes of storage, which is its max, it will cost you $2,400. This is essentially how much that costs, but this gives you 32 terabytes of storage. It gives you integrated graphics. It gives you a 10 gigabit Ethernet connection, and it will transfer 150 gigabytes of files from the server to the Mac Studio in less than 2 minutes. This is the ultimate Mac Studio server configuration, and it will have its own specific video, but this is the most important accessory, and it only took me 2 weeks to figure out how to get it working. Poof, magic disappearing server. And if you like this video and you want to see a little more content on the Mac Studio, you can find my video talking about it after 48 hours of use by clicking right here. Click, 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 click. Thanks for watching.